Hello, I'm the Deaf Geek. This podcast is about The Wheel of Time. Season 3, Episode 5, Teleron Riod. After the previous episode, where Rand successfully proved himself as the Kara Khan, we thought we return to the various storylines going on all over the world. Over in the White Tower, Siuan suspects, there's still one more Black Ajah hiding. Elaida is her prime suspect, so she sets up a trap to catch Elaida in the action. The second storyline focuses on the group tasked with tracking the Black Ajah down. Nynaeve, Elaine, and Mat are on a ship headed to Tanchico. They are trying to locate Liandrin. Oh, and there's a surprise stowaway on the ship. Meanwhile, over in the Ale Waste, Rand is trying to summon all of the Ale clans. Egwene is working on developing her new dream walking powers in Teleran. That's the dream world. Moiraine is trying to figure out how to utilize the Sakanen. Over at the Two Rivers, Perrine is with his gang, which has a new member in Fail. The gang also includes Alanna and the two Aiel sisters. They decide it's finally time to rescue Mat's mother and two sisters.
Where is Moiraine Sedai?
She's been exiled.
I'm sure she still writes you. I remember when you were a novice, phoning over her like a lovesick puppy.
That was a long time ago.
People don't change, Mother. You have fooled many, but I know what you are. River trash.
Let's begin with the political maneuvering in the White Tower. Here we see a meeting between Elaida, who wants to use the Red Ajah to seize control. Emen Siuan, the current Emirlin seat of the White Tower. We see here that Elaida used to be Siuan's mentor and superior. But now Elaida is below Siuan, and she deeply resents it. Her choice of words towards Siuan were, whoa. Calling Siuan river trash was a bit over the line. Siuan, however, took it in stride and didn't take the bait. She couldn't retaliate, as she had to play politics and put on a stoic face. That was intense, but the bottom line is, Elaida feels that it's White Tower's duty to cage and control the Dragon Reborn. That's Rand. Elaida wants the White Tower to be in charge, and force Rand to kneel to them. Siuan, however, disagrees. She thinks the White Tower should be supporting Rand, so we have two clashing perspectives here. Which one will win out? For the next part, they discover that there's one more Black Ajah member. There were supposed to be 13 Black Ajah in the White Tower. 12 of them were uncovered and fled, so there's one more left. But who? The search is underway, and Siuan immediately suspects Elaida. She did arrive immediately after the Black Ajah were exposed. Siuan decided to set a trap, and we'll show that next.
We will never betray our oaths or our sisters, no matter how many times you ask.
I believe you. All you will see is pain until you tell me her name.
Siwan, with the aid of Varen, drop hints about where the Black Aja are held. Elaida takes the bait and approaches them, but not to save them, but instead to kill them. This results in a grey man appearing to attack Elaida. Apparently, Elaida was not Black Aja after all. Siwan's trap to identify the missing Black Aja member failed. And in doing so, she revealed she did not trust Elaida. Think Eladia will accept the misunderstanding and let bygones by bygones? Nah. I wanted to add this. I saw commentary that Eladia broke the 3 oaths. She used the one power to slice the throat of one of the Black Aja. But nope, there's a loophole in the 3rd oath. An Aes Sedai cannot use the one power as a weapon unless it's against a dark friend. And who's more of a dark friend than a Black Aja? So the oaths allow Elaida to murder the Black Aja. It's permitted. Elaida did not break the 3 oaths. So she most likely isn't a Black Aja. There's no proof. So who is the mysterious 13th Black Aja? The episode did give you a massive clue. See if you can figure it out.
Wake up, look. Look what she's doing.
Aes Sedai are not allowed to be on deck when they travel with the sea folk.
Now we're on a ship with Nynaeve, Elaine, and Mat. They're sailing towards Tanchico. They suspect Liandrin is hiding there. The people sailing the ship are from a group called the Sea Folk. I'll touch upon a few aspects of this storyline. First, the Sea Folk. I honestly thought that if an adaptation was made, they'd be cut. There was a whole storyline with them that went nowhere in the books. They had a huge role that felt unnecessary. So I was surprised, though I suspect they're more of a background fluff here. They're more here for world building, really. So what did we see here? We saw that the Navigator can channel the One Power, although they hide this from this White Tower. They tend to send their weakest channelers to the White Tower instead, whereas those stronger in the power are used to guide the ships. By the way, the surprise stowaway on the ship was Min. She got on the ship to follow the group. We'll find out why she did this later on. I didn't show this in a clip because a lot of things happened this episode. I had to choose which clips to show, so cut the Min revelation. But it is important to know she's on the boat, and Mat knows. We also see that Elaine is a bit envious of the Sea Folk's freedom. Interesting. There was a lot of information dumped here. We'll see how this shakes out in future episodes.
Why did you do that? Witch! One of you is a witch!
It was me.
Now we shift over to the Two Rivers storyline, focusing on Perron. He's trying to protect the town from the White Cloaks and Trollocs. The White Cloaks have arrested Matt's mother and 2 sisters. We see that Matt shares some personality traits with his family members. They won't just sit back and accept their fate. They tried to escape on their own, but failed. In doing so, one of them used magic in front of the White Cloaks. Not good. The White Cloaks are famous for despising the Aes Sedai and women who can channel, branding them as witches. Matt's mother immediately claims she did the magic. It's obvious one of the sisters did, but the mother sacrificed herself to protect them. We'll see what happens next.
Why we're here?
We're here because you're not enough! The last battle is coming. I swore when I took this ring that I'd be ready to win it. And you know what I realized when the Black Ajah attacked? They're ready. And we're not. We don't.
Let's take a bit of a detour and talk about Alanna. I haven't talked about her much, but I wanted to shine a spotlight on her here. Alanna and her story will become very important later. In the first episode, Alanna was involved in that Black Ajah attack. During the battle, Liandrin killed one of Alanna's warders. Yvonne was killed, leaving Maxime as the sole survivor. Maxime was heartbroken at Yvonne's death. However, Alanna had already experienced deaths of multiple warders. She's centuries old, so while she's sad she lost a warder, she's accepted it. But this is Maxime's first loss, and it's hitting him really hard. He wants to hunt down and get revenge on Liandrin. But Alanna insists that the last battle should be priority number 1. She's noticed Two Rivers has produced many heroes such as Rand, Mat, Perrin, etc. There's something about Two Rivers, so she wants to raise an army there. For Alanna, that's more important. That causes Maxime and Alanna to be at odds with each other and on separate paths. This is another reason why I showed this clip. There will be a key event coming up later on. This scene planted some seeds for that event. In the books, that scene was abrupt and came out of nowhere. The show seems to be attempting to give some foreshadowing instead. So here we see some hints for this upcoming major incident. That's why I added this clip.
No. It's all right. They're friends. Come on, quickly. It's fine. Where's your mother?
They took her that way.
Okay, go with them. They'll keep you safe. I'll get your mom.
Now it's time for Perrin to attempt his rescue of Mat's mother and sisters. Unfortunately, by the time Perrin gets there, it's too late for Natty, Mat's mother. The White Cloaks burned her at the stake, killing her. Natty willingly sacrificed herself to protect her 2 daughters. One of them is capable of channeling magic. This hits Perrin hard, as he feels he failed. But what's important is that the 2 girls are saved. Some White Cloaks are also included in the casualty during the battle. The Cawthon girls successfully escape, and the White Cloaks are harmed. Now let's talk about the books, as there is one significant change. In the novels, Natty did not die. She's still alive. That's one of the few flaws the books had. I'm not criticizing them, but the cast continually grew and grew. There were very few deaths, so the cast just became bloated. The show doesn't have that same luxury, so they had to trim some characters. So even if they're alive in the books, they are killed off here, such as Uno last season. Characters who survived all the way to the end are killed off way earlier here. Those are the characters who might have survived, but had greatly diminished roles. Killing them will have minimal impact on the storylines. Unfortunately, Natty is one of those type of characters, so she got killed off. It didn't happen in the books, but did here. This serves to add tension to the plot, as well as raising the stakes. I wanted to highlight this departure from the novels.
Are we?
Yes, this is still Aranrio.
It looks the same.
It is not the same. There are things here that could shatter your heart.
That could eat your heart.
How did this...
You were afraid, so you wanted armor. Uncontrolled thoughts are troublesome in the dream world. Control them.
Now we shift to the final storyline, over in the Ale Waste, in the desert. Rand is busy trying to summon all of the Ale clans. I didn't show that part in this podcast, but that's what he's doing right now. Rand's goal is to gather all the clans, where he will proclaim himself the Kara-Karn. So that's Rand's storyline now. Instead, I'm going to focus on Egwene and the emergence of her new powers. Not only can she channel magic, she can also walk in dreams. The two Ale Wise Ones are assisting Egwene to learn how to harness this power. They will teach Egwene how to protect herself in Teleran Rayod. That's the dream world, and what happens there can manifest in real life, too. She has to be very careful, and is also why she has persistent bruises on her neck. Lanfear has been choking her in her dreams. That's why the Wise Ones are training Egwene in this power. The deal is that Egwene can only enter Tel Aranriod with their permission. It's too dangerous to enter otherwise, so they have to be asked first. If she's not careful, there can be consequences.
Where are you?
I've been through the rings of Ruidian.
Ruidian. You're in the Isle Waste.
I have seen 1,000 futures. And I know two things to be true. If the White Tower does not bend the knee to Rand al'Thor, he will lose the last battle.
You think that Egwene would listen to the Ale Wise Ones? Haha, no. Instead, Moiraine, after her experience of the thousand turns, has an urgent message she absolutely has to pass on to Siwan. However, as she is exiled from the White Tower, she can't pass it on in person. Fortunately, Egwene now has dreamwalking powers. So Moiraine asks Egwene to set up a meeting with Siwan in her dream. That way, the message can be given. Egwene reluctantly agrees to do so. Thus the meeting that we saw in the clip occurs. In the dream, Moiraine tells Siwan that out of all her visions, there was one key point. The White Tower has to kneel to Rand. In order for Rand to win the last battle, this is non-negotiable. Remember the earlier scene, what Elaida's objective is? Elaida believes it is essential for Rand to submit to the White Tower. How will these two conflicting movements in the White Tower play out? I didn't get to talk about Egwene jumping through her friend's dreams. It'd probably take a separate video to discuss all these dream visits. I'm not going to do that this time. But it was interesting to see all of Egwene's friends' deepest desires. Some were heartbreaking, and others were cringy. And of course, we got the inevitable final dream visit. Of Rand getting it on with Lanfear. The same person who had been torturing Egwene in her dreams? Oops. Now we have a conflict to resolve in the next episode. Here are my thoughts about the 5th episode of Wheel of Time, Season 3. After last episode, which focused completely on Rand's trip through Rhuidean, now we're back to jumping all over the world and plot lines. This episode felt very heavy on setting up a bunch of upcoming storylines. Honestly, I probably could have done 10 to 12 separate segments in this podcast. There was a lot happening in this one episode to talk about. I didn't even touch upon Moiraine learning how to use the Sakarnin. I didn't discuss the conversation between Min and Mat about her visions. And so on and on. There were a lot of seeds planted in this episode. It feels like Wheel of Time could easily be split into 3 or 4 separate shows, each focusing on separate characters and their own storylines. I mean, each storyline basically has its own large cast now. Right now this show is juggling a lot of things. Storylines, settings, casts, etc. I have no idea how they'll wrap everything up in the 3 remaining episodes. There's an end goal in sight, but how to get to that point, I don't know. There's a lot left to do. One thing's for certain. The ending of this season will be explosive. However, based on the history of this TV series so far, especially seasons 1 and 2, this show has a tendency to crash its landings. I'm worried the same will happen for season 3 too. I admit it, I have been enjoying this series so far, but yeah, I'm concerned. Can the show stick the landing? They failed the first 2 seasons. The first season can be blamed on COVID, but the second season? So we'll see how this season plays out. So yeah, I'm concerned, but back to this episode. My rating is an 8 out of 10. This is the Deaf Geek, and thanks for watching.